Hey guys, Crafty here from Living in Beta, and we are back with another addition to our farming route mini-series. This time focusing on one of Nice City's oldest districts, Santo Domingo. As mentioned previously, these routes require patience and will take a bit more time than your usual exploit or eddy maker. Think of them more as a home-cooked meal, carefully assembled with a foundation of love and care, rather than hitting up a McDonald's on Deliveroo, choosing 20 chicken nuggets and having to deal with the disappointment of them forgetting the dips. Who eats 20 nuggets without dips, bro? Who? Now, of course, the real benefit of doing routes like these is that they come with lots of upside, gaining you XP, street cred, attribute XP, and tons of dollar, with the only blocker being the time you're willing to commit. So let's take off our clothes, put on our apron, and show this meal some love. Okay, so before we get into the route itself, or the location itself, there's three things we need to consider when you're choosing a farm spot. Firstly, again, it's all about the difficulty you're doing it on. So if you go into your settings and see what difficulty you're playing on, of course, for this video, we're going to be playing on very hard to show you what the maximum amount of XP you can get. But again, I haven't tried anything lower than normal. So normal itself gives you around 7 to 8 XP per kill. Hard around 11 XP per kill. And I've had a varied XP from very hard between 11 and 20. I think it might scale depending on the kind of enemies you're facing or the kind of location you're in. But just bear that in mind. And choose the one that's best for you, because not only does this dictate how hard it is to kill enemies, it's going to increase the time, or in turn decrease the time, if it's easier to play that route or play the game at the time, right? So consider that when you're doing that. Now, of course, the location itself as well is relative, but for us, we're going to be in the Santo Domingo area, a fan favorite on the channel, closest fast travel point being the Metro Mega Building H7, and this is less of a route and more of a kind of a smorgasbord of enemies in the middle of an industrial park, right? There is a route where you go in the one side and come out the other, but it's very small considering to some of the farm routes that we've done on the channel. There's also, of course, the other thing to consider, things like selling your items or being able to buy ammo. There isn't many stores around this area. You can see here on the map, we've only really got a clothing store that's more of a stone's throw away. So this might be one of those routes that you utilize your vehicle, store the loot in your vehicle with the unlimited carry weight, and then sell it when you've done a couple of hours of doing the route. And it might be more beneficial to do things like Netrunner, which we're going to be doing on this showcase, but also melee builds as well. We haven't got to rely on ammo. Now, of course, enemies will drop ammo as well, so bear that in mind. But again, not having the stores close and using a gun that requires ammo might limit the amount of times you can do the route. Now, this one is also a weird one because sometimes the time of day or how far you run away to skip time depends on how many enemies spawn in the area. So we'll showcase that now by, of course, doing the area first. So again, there's not any real route per se to do this, but I will show you how I approach it. Again, it's on a Netrunner, so you'll see different things than you would do if you were using a weapon. First things first, you want to pop off the lady here if you're going to enter this way, and then care about the geezer on the left-hand side as well. We'll dispatch of both of those. And then you've got two options. You can take a left, or you can figure out the enemies that are on the right. You have 3 people around this little table here. I'm going to give them a cheeky system reset, see which one triggers, and then give a short circuit. Dispatch of those, and then I like to go around the left-hand side and pick off the enemies in a distance. You'll see these 3 enemies by a car here. Sometimes it can be 2. There might be 2 there. Looks like there is 2. And then you've got 2 enemies here that are doing some shooting practice on the side. It's a good idea to pick them off as well, because they're easily aggro once enemies know where you are. We'll pick them off. And then you've got a load of enemies around here that were currently boogieing with some pedestrians. They've dispatched and gone away. Don't want to get involved with the scrap. So we'll pick these off as well, making sure we're not in their line of sight so we don't get hurt. Of course, we're playing on very hard, so we want to make sure we're in a play style that allows us to maximize our kill ability without getting hurt. We'll pop those 2 off with a suicide. This person's doing a runner, so we'll catch them on a short circuit. And then over here, you've got enemies near a vehicle. So you'll pick those 2 off, and you've also got the one in the distance here who likes to get aggroed. We'll system reset him. I know there's a couple of enemies around the corner, so I'll showcase that in a second. You've got the classic floating car, like we're in Back to the Future. Don't worry about that. Got a cheeky melee guy who wants to get involved. Let's give him a short circuit for his dinner. Then take a right, and there's sometimes enemies sat on this chair and table here as well. They may have just aggroed and followed me round, to be honest, but just bear in mind that they're there. And then on the left hand side as well, you got 2 friends on the sofa just enjoying their summer. Dispatch of those as well. And that's all the enemies in the area, to be honest. You can see here, they've all been popped and dispatched of. You'll notice the loots that they drop as well are more epic and rare loots, which is a bit different to like the Watson area that we just covered in a previous video that has more common loot just because of the area it is. You can see lots of purples here, which means more eddies and higher materials when you disassemble them, right? So do this area as best you can. Again, it's more like a free-for-all open pit of killings. There's no real route how you want to take it. Just bear in mind, this is quite an open area, and enemies, of course, can catch you quite easily, especially on very hard. So utilize the heights, utilize the pillars and the vehicles, etc. to stand behind. Maybe grenades on a vehicle to blow up will be quite handy. Then what I like to do is run around here. And what I used to do is wait on this road and skip time 24 hours. Now, for the sake of this video, I am going to showcase it just to show that it's not that consistent when it comes to the enemies respawning. We'll skip time 24 hours and see what pops up at 7 AM again. It used to be, back in patch 1.2 or 2.5, that all the enemies would respawn. Happy days. I'll showcase though, we'll go in the back end here. It's highly likely now that waiting there and skipping 24 hours, not many enemies, if any enemies, respawn. We have got 2 by this vehicle here, which is handy. You have got party goers that are there, but they're not killable enemies. You've got the guys with the gun shooting range, they're there as well. We'll just go invisible just so we can see the other enemies. No people on the table. No people on the sofa. No people by this car either. Still got the hover vehicle there, which is fun. And it looks like no people at the table over there as well. So bear that in mind. It's not as consistent if you're just waiting on that road. Now what I like to do, I would clear the area, come around the backside, cheeky, hop this fence over here and make our way round. Yes, it's a little bit of a longer running route, but when you consider that that area is very quick to clear out, this is actually more bang for your buck in terms of time to clear the enemies out, right? So you'll make your way around this corner here. I like to stand just outside the front of the, I think this is an Arasaka compound. We'll go around here, and I like to wait 24 hours around there. And most of the time, it's been fairly consistent. Knowing me though, this video will showcase that it isn't consistent. I like to wait here, skip 24 hours, and then make my way back over. And usually, 99% of the time, all the enemies have respawned, right? It's a bit annoying to have to run away this far and have to run back. But as I said, it still is much quicker than other routes, because you haven't got as much high length of distance to travel when covering the whole area, right? Watch out for the road though. This is easily a road to get hit by a car. Cheeky little pink mobile over there. Make our way around to the front again like we did before, and we'll just give it a quick little run through again just to see who's spawned. So we've still got the 2 people at the front by the looks of it. Yep, pretty standard. I mean, they were there anyway when we last got here, if we remember rightly. Sometimes you can get lucky with those and get a suicide on both. It didn't work though. The table's back, which wasn't there a second ago, so we'll pick off those. Pretty handy. Looks like the vehicle back as well, and there's a triple over there, which is nice. So we'll just take those out, utilizing our net running. You've still got the guys on the shooting range. Pick those off as well. It has to be a short circuit for now while we wait for things to replenish. We'll get a system reset for the lads. Dance party's back as well. Pretty handy. Get a suicide out there for the lads. And pick off what we can in the distance as well with a system reset. Close quarters short circuit to tickle this guy's pants. And then we'll make our way round. Still got 1 guy left at the table, so we'll deal with them with a system reset. And we'll get a cheeky suicide over here to dispatch off things with a short circuit here for the ladies. So you can see all the enemies have pretty much respawned when you go back round to the Arasaka building there. And make sure you wait the 24 hours. So my recommendation is to fit that in the route every time. Now, if you want to try and save time, you can do what I did before and wait on the road. But it's very inconsistent with the spawn rate, right? And you can see here, every single enemy is respawned consistently just by waiting in front of that building. But yeah, once again, I haven't looted the bodies because just for the sake of the length of this video. But make sure you loot all the bodies here, pick up the weapons and ammo, etc. And make the most out of the area by disassembling for materials, or again selling the items when you're ready, utilizing your personal vehicle for storage. Now, of course, this is one of 3 routes that we've covered on the channel. If you want to find out the other routes, feel free to visit the description down below. Let me know in the comments as well if you found a closer place that you can wait 24 hours and the enemies respawn. I'd like to find that out as well. Any other hints and tips you have for the Santo Domingo area? Is there another route you found or another location with enemies that spawn that's quite handy, let's all chat down below and help the community out the best we can. But for now, like the video if you liked it, share with your friends and family, subscribe for more content like this one, and remember, don't be a gonk.